like that aspect of proper capturing of every bit of the job, because that's actually the importance of a WBS. You need to properly capture. Nothing should be missing. Anything that is missing on your WBS is probably not part of your scope. Mr. Obong, I saw your hand up earlier.
Yes, I wanted to, but he has already answered the
No, there's
question.
something else. There's something else that I didn't add. If you can add that,
Okay.
it'd be nice.
So WPS, what I got from the class, it's important to probably understand your WPS, because if you don't understand it, you will not be able to properly estimate your project, or you'll not be able to make proper estimations for your project. And then it involves breaking down your project into small bits, and the smallest bits of your breakdown is what we call our work package.
Work package, great. So what it means is that until you get to the work package, you need to continue to break it down. You need to continue to break it down until you get to the work package. The work package, what the work package does for you, how do you know whether you have achieved the work packages? Ask yourself, can I easily say how long it will take? Can I easily say how much it will cost? Can I easily say how many material will go into it, or how much labor will go into it? If you are unable to say that, it's possible you've actually not gotten to the work package level. Okay, Mr. Sukomi just sent me something. I'm sure he's on his way into the class back again. So what I'm going to do, let me take what Wesley sent to me first, and then we will use it for our practical. So let me just share my screen. Please confirm if you can see my screen.
Yes, I can see your screen.
Okay, so this is what Mr. Wesley sent to me. So I can see site selection, marking out, delivering sharp sand, chippings, cement, rods, mobilizing iron bender, digging for column, blinding, so this is like a list of work that you have created, right? A list of work you have created. There's something I said you didn't add to your definition that I wanted us to take note of. It's hierarchical. Your breaking down has to be in hierarchy. So I will do that where I will probably use Mr. Wesley's list to form a WBS and create that hierarchy maybe when we start. So this is a list of activity. But last week, I don't know if you remember when I talked about steps to estimation. Can you remember? After identifying activity and you divide your activity, was it steps to estimation? I mentioned it. I think it was under scheduling process, defining activity, which is what Mr. Wesley have done, sequencing the activity. Mr. Wesley has not sequenced this activity. Yeah, you need to sequence them, which comes first, which comes next, and all that. Then as estimating activity resources, then activity duration, right? So let me stop sharing now. Let me go a bit to see what somebody will just send me something. Okay. Ms. Esther, welcome to class.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, so I got your assignment. I'm just getting it now. So what I'm going to do, I will see if I can quickly download what you just sent and show it. Mr. Wesley, do you use MS Project or do you have it on your system?
No, I don't. No,
You
I
don't?
I don't even know how to use it. I'm hoping to learn it here.
Okay. So you may need to, you are in Abuja. So if you just take your system to neighborhood zone 3 and ask them to install MS Project for you, it's just probably with 5,000 in my last class, the training I did before now, most guys that went said they didn't charge them more than 5,000 and they installed a licensed version for them. Then like I said on my first card, you can also buy it on Jumia. I bought 3 users on Jumia before for about 15 or 20,000, 3 users. But if you just one user, you can just go to zone 3 and they will install it on your system. So
Okay.
let me open what Esther has done. I want to share my screen now for what Esther submitted so that we can see what she has done. I think she has attended my class before, so she has a bit of an idea. Okay, so I'm sharing my screen again. Can you see my screen?
Yes, I can.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Madam Esther, is this your work?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I can't see your WBS numbering. You didn't number it. So
It disappeared. I don't know how it hid after I finished the
okay,
other
the other part
stuff.
of the work.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me see. So, Mr. Wesley, can you see my screen?
Yes, I can.
Okay, so what she has attempted to do is this, right? She has attempted to list, just look at this column that says task name. Um,
Okay.
she has divided her work. She has arranged them into hierarchy. Like I said, she has item 1, 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, but it's not very detailed. So, okay, so this is a good try, Esther. I will stop sharing now. Let me just go into my class a bit. So, you know, because of what we want to do today, let me just go and show us what I mean by our WBS being in hierarchy, right?
Okay.
So can you see the board? Can you see the board? Is the board clear? Is it clear enough?
Yes, I can see the board.
Okay. So Mr. Wesley, Mr. Wesley, please
I can
just
hear you.
tell us a little bit about this, your list of activity. What project is it? And it just give me a bit of idea.
Okay, we are actually building a market complex at PW. It's called PW Neighborhood Market in Kubwa. And we are starting up a new
Did you
project
say Kubwa
for a new block. Yes, Kubwa, yes.
neighborhood market?
Yes, it's called PW Neighborhood Market.
EW neighborhood market.
Yes.
So can you read what's on the board? Can you read it? Mr. Wesley, can you read it?
I'm trying to.
That means it's
It's
not
kind of
clear.
small. WPS for PW Neighborhood Market, I think.
Can you read it better now?
I don't think it's the board, it's my eye anyway.
Okay, can somebody else help me?
I can see the WBS for PW neighborhood.
Who else can help me, please? I want somebody to read what's on the board.
Yeah, WBS for PW neighborhood markets, Kubwa.
Wow. Okay, great. Now, that's what the project is about, right? So,
Yes,
okay, how many floors, or what part of the project are you handling? Is it just the foundation, or is it just okay, maybe let's just deal with the foundation, right? Let's just
yes, we are dealing with the foundation. We are handling the totality of the market. We are building, selling, operating for a period of time before handing over to Buhari Area Council.
Okay. So you are going to lead us, but I want everyone else to participate and give me, ideas. So let's see first. Let's see if we can begin to just list all the activities involved. Let me just say we are dealing with the, let's just say foundation first, right? I want us to list as much as we can the activities that we need. First and foremost, what Mr. Wesley submitted. Mr. Wesley, I don't know if you have a copy. What he first said is, he said site selection.
Yes.
Site selection, you say marking out. I guess you meant setting out, right? Marking out.
Yes, that's what I meant.
That's marking out of the columns and the wall, the foundation wall lines and all that. Am I correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So you also made something like a delivery of sharp sand, rod, and all that. So let me say, let me just say material delivery, right?
Yes.
Material delivery. Then you talked about engaging iron benders and all that. So let me say engage laborers. So now, let me see. Mr. Ini, you are welcome to class. Mr. Wesley submitted a list of activity. I'm trying to just form WBS out of them, then we can proceed for class. I'll most likely be using Mr. Wesley's assignment that is submitted as my case study for class today when we start doing the practical aspects on the MS project, if that's okay.
It's fine.
Okay, great.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. So is there any other thing you submitted? I missed? Okay. Let me say you also on your list. If you have it in front of you, you can be reading for me, Mr. Wesley. I don't want to share my screen now. I think you
Okay.
I think you said digging, right?
Yes. Digging for column bases.
Digging for column.
Blinding.
Miss Esther, can you confirm you can see the board?
Yes, sir. I can see the board, sir.
What did I write before the one I'm writing now?
Digging of columns, then blinding.
Digging for column, then blinding. Okay, great. That means it's clear. So the next thing, Mr. Wesley, let's remove all the labor of components and just do the actual work. Let me see. I think you said something like blinding. After blinding, what do you have? Form work to column.
Form work for column, setting column bases and columns.
Okay, form work to column. Yes. What's the next thing?
Setting column bases and columns.
Setting column basis. Now, you know what I'm going to do right now? Let me open a spreadsheet, right? Let me open a spreadsheet and let's begin again. Can you see the blank spreadsheet?
Yes, I can.
Yes, sir.
Great. So let me see. What's the title of this WBS again? WBS for what?
For
PW
neighborhood market.
neighborhood markets. Kubwa, right?
Yes.
So let me use Arial black just so we can, it's clear. Is my screen clear enough?
Yes, it's clear.
Okay, so now what I want to do now is to see if I can copy all your activities and paste here, right? No. Sorry, what happened? You can't see my screen again, right? Can you see is my screen back? Esther, can you confirm if my screen is back? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, okay. So I wanted to confirm if my screen is back.
Yes, sir.
Yes, it's back.
Okay. Great. So what I want to do now, Mr. Wesley, is to see if I can now you see these activities that you listed, Mr. Wesley.
Yes, sir.
So marking out, right? Delivery of sharp sand. Are you getting it?
Yes, sir.
Delivery of rod, mobilizing, all of them, I see them as, let me dent them. I see them as a major heading. So it's like delivery of rod. It's like preliminaries.
Okay.
Are you getting me?
Yes, sir.
Are you getting it?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So by the time you finish this, digging, let me say, let's group all column work together. Digging of column base, or let's do foundation and column, right? Blinding, carpenter, formwork, setting, casting of column base, watering of colony for 2 days. You know, I will put all these as under foundation and column, right? What I'm trying to do now, I'm trying to sequence. Don't forget, I talk about hierarchical decomposition, right?
Yes.
Hierarchical decomposition. So now I can see supply of block to site. I'll remove this and take it back to what do we call it? I'll take it to
Preliminaries.
preliminaries. So preliminaries, I can actually go to preliminaries and just change this to delivery of materials to site, right? Right. So why is that? Right. So delivery of materials to site.
So
Now,
we'll lose the next columns.
yes, I'll remove this. Then I'll just say, let me just say, mobilize workers to site, right? Now, digging of substructure block work. Why are you digging substructure block work? Okay, this is the real foundation right now. So,
yes.
so because the substructure is going to have a whole list of activities, it's a major deliverable, right? That
yes.
a client should be interested in. Substructure. Right? Is a major deliverable that you cannot afford to miss. You will understand it after today's class. Why I think you should take note of your major deliverable. If you want to, the reason why you need to be able to get deliverable is for if you want to track progress, right?
Yes.
It's good, you should be able to tell your client to say that though the entire project is, for example, 24 months, but within 2 months, we should expect this major deliverable. So if your client does not have, money, all the money stored up, let's say it's a 50 million naira project, doesn't have 50 million naira project, breaking it this way helps the client or even your company, organization to plan and say, okay, for this phase of deliverable, foundation and column, we need X amount, right? For substructure, we need this amount. Why do I think that this substructure should go under foundation? So I think I will do that. But for now, let me just do all this. I will fill in with weak concrete backfill, formwork, DPM, hardcore. Now, all these are still under substructure, right? So
yes.
let me dent it this way. The watering of this is also under substructure. So now you see what I've done now, right? So I still think I should introduce another even deliverable here called column work, right?
Yes.
Then what it means is that the whole of column work and substructure will go under
foundation.
That foundation and column. Right?
Yes.
Are we all following me? This is just I'm just doing like a preamble. I'm going diving a little bit deeper into WBS now. Then I will now use it as the foundation for teaching MS projects today. Okay, so now, because I've done this way now, hierarchically, can you see that prelims have 2 levels, but foundation now has 3 levels? Can we see that? Right? So example, if I call this 1 and I call this 2, let me make everything the same text. Right? 16, right? if I call this 2, now, what do you think this one would be? Mr. Wesley?
1.1.
1.1, right? Great. This is 1.2, 1.3, 1.4, right? What do you think the next one would be? Column walk. We can, if you're not in a noisy environment, you are free to unmute.
2.1.
2.1. What of the next?
2.1.1.
2.1.1. The next?
2.1.2. 0.3.
Right. So let me just go down. What of substructure will be what?
2.2.
Right. So this will be 2.2.1. Now, like that. Now, let me look for something. Do we think we have work package, all the work package now? Do you think we have to the last work packages? Setting column base. Form work column base, setting column base. Setting column base. Let me assume I have 2.1.4, 2.1.5, 2.1.6. Don't worry, I'm doing it manually because I'm using spreadsheet. But after today's class, you will know how MS Project can just do this for you, automated. You don't need to be doing all this thing I'm doing. 0.9. Now, let's watch something I'm about to do now. Now, I want us to follow me, closely, right? The importance of what I'm doing now is, if you watch where I started by telling us that I think a project is a temporary endeavor undertaken to create a unique product that has its own that has its own objective to meet. Now, I said temporary means that's a start date and end date. I went further to talk about the triple constraint of your scope, your time, your schedule, which are the 3 things that, if you do not manage well, affects the quality of your work and makes your project to fail. So what we are trying to do is to see how we can take control of these 3 constraints. Scope. The best way you can take control of your scope is to capture every line item on your WBS to the smallest measurable chunk, which is your work package. After you have done that, you can now easily estimate duration and easily estimate cost of each of these items. Now, I'm doing it manually now. It's very, very stressful. So what we are going to do today is that after I've done it manually, and we will now take it to MS Project after today's class, and we will now estimate time, cost, and see how MS Project automatically rolls it up for us. It's an automated, software that rolls it up, and then you can begin to generate reports, tracking, and then doing your cash flows, right? Now, I'm looking at something I want to just take to, we are now, a foundation work has 3 levels now of work package. It's easy to estimate, but let me see something like setting of column base. Setting of column base. Can we just imagine it a bit? Those of us in construction line, Mr. Wesley, Mr. Sukomi, Miss Esther, who can tell me setting of column base, what does it entail? How many floors is this your project, Mr. Wesley?
And just 2 floors, the ground and first floor.
Oh, spreadsheet is even automating it. 2 floors, ground and first floor.
Yes.
Okay, so great. So what does it take to set column base? Can you just explain to us a bit, Mr. Wesley? What does it take to set column base?
Okay, I will say it's typically getting the basket, which has been tied before now, yeah, from the day the iron bender was mobilized. You tie your basket and you also tie your column. Then you take it into the foundation that has been blinded, and you have your form.
So that means there must be a time to prepare basket, right?
Yes.
Prepare basket, then prepare basket,
your column.
Let me just do it together. Let's assume the iron bender does that together. Then tie basket to column. Is that what you said?
Yeah. So you tie the basket to column there on the ground.
Then
So you, when your basket is there, you set your column, and you try to follow your line, which would have been set on your setting out. So you mark where each column is supposed to be on setting out through a line, and make sure all your columns are in line.
Great. Thank you very much. Where I'm going is because I was thinking that setting column base, you may not be able to easily estimate for time if you don't break it out further. Do you understand? Do you understand? So if I'm doing this project, I will add 2.1.5. You get it? You get it now.
Yes, I do.
For instance, now, right, you have said something like 2 days. Now, but for me to get the realistic timeline now, I may just have to liaise with iron bender and say, okay, let's say let me give one whole day for preparing of basket and column, and maybe the same day for tying. But the setting, I know they will have to do it in conjunction with the mason, and it's a bit more technical because lines have to be thrown up and down. How many shops are these?
So we have 24 on each level.
On each level. Great. Is it an I or an L or a U complex?
I.
Now, guys, you know why I'm asking him all this question? Because he has the project in his head. I don't have an idea of the project. Last week, can you remember I said something like there is basis for all estimates, right? Can we remember that?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, good. So if this project was given to me now and I wasn't part of it, and Mr. Wesley's company wants me to help them manage this project, what I will do is that I need to collect all the drawing, all the question I'm asking him now. I need to put myself into the design and understand the design very well. It will help me know that, okay, I cannot just assume that I am setting column set column rebar in column base that has been casted. I cannot just assume I can do it in one day. I need to know the size of the project. I need to know how many shops we are talking about. If I need to know how many shops we are talking about, let me just assume each of them has four columns, right, on each of the side. I need to know that, okay, 4 times maybe 24. Do I have up to 100 columns to set? This is just an example, or are there just 50 columns? If we are setting 50 columns, I want to assure you that 50 columns, Mr. Wesley, from your experience on site, how long will it take you to set 50 columns and it will be plumb and perpendicular to the ground? How long will it take you to maybe do one? How many hours or minutes?
So it shouldn't be up to 1 hour. Let's say roughly, considering that the basket has been tied beforehand and the columns have been tied beforehand.
Yes.
You are just setting the first, maybe the ones on the border will take longer time. Let's say maybe 15 to 20 minutes, but every other one comes in line and it's easier to set them.
Okay, so I've added another task there, squaring of columns. Now, the reason why I'm putting this, right? Now, there are advantages to these things. As a project manager, when you bring out your WBS like this, can you see that now that we've started it, Mr. Wesley, yes, because we are now working as a team, let's assume you after doing it, you bring out your project team together and you are doing this with them. Can you see that some other things are coming up that will help you? Even if you are not on ground, you have set a framework and a system rolling. So even if you send a representative to site, which I do a lot, I can send somebody to site to go and check something for me. But because the person understands the scope, for example, if I tell the person today they are setting column for me on site, Mr. Wesley, because we have this WBS, do you know what my representative will do on site when it comes to site? He will carry
Look out
yes, he will check for preparing a basket. He will check that was it tight. He will say that I've just set it in the column base. He will say that is it squared? Are the columns squared? Then squaring of columns, let me say in line, right? Are they squared? Are they in line? So sometimes let me say this. Do you know why project fail and we have low quality project? Because our scope is usually vague and ambiguous. So WBS help you to eliminate ambiguity. So you may want to write it down. It's very important. If you are on any site and you don't bring your WBS, I can almost assure you that you are managing an imaginary project that is full of ambiguity. Because even when you say you travel, because you cannot say that a project is 24 months, then you tie yourself down for 24 months, you may have some other things to go and do in US, UK. You should be able to send somebody, but you can only be confident if you carry a list of WS and give the person, so that while you are away, when the person gets to site, he knows what to check out for. There is no ambiguity. I say if it is not on the WBS, it is not part of the project. So your representative is actually free not to check some things. For instance, if I don't put squaring of columns in line and all that, even if they prepare the basket and they put it in the foundation, they can just start pouring concrete. But your supervisor will know that it needs to check for what? Squaring of the columns in line. If not, by the time you are done, have you ever seen a bent column before, Mr. Wesley, on any side? Maybe not on your side.
I have even on my site.
Beautiful. Do you know that it affects the balancing of weight of the slab coming up on the upper floor if a column is bent? Just one.
Causing it to rack.
Yes. So I'm very happy. Mr. Obong, we may not be dealing directly with your line yet and Mr. Ini, but I just believe this can give us a little bit of idea since Mr. Wesley made this list and brought. So let's use this live project. So if you do not capture your scope in your WBS and you do not line up WBS, you have actually not captured your scope, most likely. And your estimation of timing may actually be wrong. You may have wrong estimation for time. You may have wrong estimation for cost. Why? Because your scope was not properly broken down. All right, so I think I have made myself clear on the WBS and why I gave that assignment. I just wanted us to do that exercise so that it will help us. Great. So today,
Can I ask a small question?
Yes, Mr. Ini, go ahead.
Okay, what you just said now about the squaring of the column that makes some columns to bend to one side and then it affects the slab coming on top. Yeah. Is that part of the stuff? Is that part of what makes some buildings to collapse?
Well, building
in the future.
Okay, yes. Building collapse is actually a combination of a whole lot of factors. Now, this alone may not make the building to collapse, because if you look at the structural design, some columns are, how do I call it now? Some columns are sensitive columns, some are not sensitive columns. If a sensitive column, the beam on it begins to rack, that can lead to collapse, because every other floor coming on that is being supported by that column, the weight will no longer be balanced, because the calculation of the civil engineer is now wrong because it's bending to one side. So it's actually a possibility. Now, building collapse, until you actually investigate, you may not be able to say, because a column may also be straight and squared, but maybe the person pouring the concrete now missed the mix ratio that was specified. Now, if we break this further, you may also want to put pouring of concrete mix ratio, maybe 1:1:2, so that when you have your representative going to site, he will check first, is this thing 1:1:2? So what most I know FCDA does that now is that how do I put it now? Is that they will ask you to actually get a sample of your concrete for tests. So while your column is trying to set before the slab comes on it, they will ensure that the test result comes out. So if they need you to bring that column down and redo, they will actually cause you to do it and redo. So it's actually, yes, a bent column can cause a building to collapse, but it's not, the only reason it can cause a building to collapse. You can have a bent column and the building will not collapse if the position of the column is not critical. Is not critical for the structural integrity of the building.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Yeah. Okay, so I want to just go into today's class so that I will come back to this WBS of the list of activity Mr. Wesley submitted. We are trying to put it into WBS. When he submitted to me, he asked me if this is what the assignment I wanted to look like. I say yes, it's not quite it, but it's very good for bringing it that way because it will now help me to tell us how to take a list of activities and bring it to WBS. So if you want to actually form a list, a scope list or a WBS list, you can actually first and foremost pick the work you want to do. For example, neighborhood market, and begin to ask yourself, first and foremost, what do I need to do first? Preliminary. What are the preliminary lists? You gather your team and let them list as many things as they think should be in the preliminary. When that is done, then pick up the foundation and put as many lists. Those lists, you cannot begin to rearrange them, sequence them, add more, remove some, group some, and then you form your WBS. So let's go into today's class, which is on MS projects. Can I have a summary? All right, so Mr. Deji, okay, yeah. So when we are done with Mr. Wesley's work, I promise I'm going to share it. If Mr. Wesley does not mind, I'm sure he won't mind. So I'll share it. Mr. Johnson, I just got your assignment, but I will not be able to treat it again. Mr. Johnson is not in class, but I just got a message, his assignment now in my DM. So I won't be able to treat it today, but we'll look at it subsequently. Please and please, only one person reached out to me within the week for a private class. You are free to reach out to me for a private class, please. You are very, very free to do that. I will create another 1 week between now and next week, Friday, Saturday. Please reach out to me, not more than 30 minutes, and I will give you time. So can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so let's do proficiency in MS projects. Today. Can we all mute ourselves, please? Okay, thank you. Okay, so MS projects, proficiency in MS project is what we are going to be dealing with today. So we're going to look at what is MS project. We'll look at advantages of mastering the tool. We look at the endless possibilities, things you can do. I wanted to show samples, but I won't show samples again because of our time. I'll show the areas of application of MS project. Then WBS and scheduling process. I was supposed to touch on that, but I've already touched on this before displaying my slide. Then we'll define some terms that will help you understand how to use the software. Then we move directly into practical, which is introduction to the ribbons and all that. So what is MS Project? MS Project is simply a project management software that is used to create schedules, right? Project plans, manage resources, and keep track of time. Now, it does what? 4 major things for us, actually 5. You create your schedules with it. You plan your project with it, right? You manage your resources. You keep track of time. Then the last thing I didn't put, which I will do a bit today, is we generate reports, especially cash flow reports, right? Then MS Project as a tool helps to plan projects. You can update your project information. You can communicate status to your team and all that. You can view it as sheets, tables, and as charts. So I'm going to circulate my slide, but so let me be pretty fast so that we can, you know, go into. Sorry, it's okay, sorry. So and let's possibly, you can keep your baseline in one place, keeping your baseline in one place. Now, what's the Mr. Wesley's project that was circulating now, by the time we are done with what we are doing, you discover that Mr. Wesley can just open his MS project, and what does he have there? He has all his projects in one place, all his baseline, scope baseline, cost baseline, and time baseline. So you don't need to be looking at all project documents all the time. MS Projects gives you a summarized, you know, how do I call it, destination for your baseline. So it helps you with project performance and reporting. At a glance, you see all of that. It helps you to automatically calculate figures, cost and duration, however complex and cumbersome the figure is. We've done it. I've told us about the 400,000 units project I manage. I told us about the one we just finished, about 248 units. I've told you about a project that was worth close to about 2 billion, right? Now, the thing is this, those are large projects. Because they are large projects, if this Mr. Wesley's project is a fairly large project, I can almost bet you that if we are to break it down to WBS, after we are done with foundation, if we take the superstructure of the ground floor, we'll not take the first floor slab and break it down into all the, you know, running of the bottom, all the brazing, all the reinforcement. If we break it down, we could easily have maybe close to about 200-300 list of activities that we need to knock off to get the project completed. Now, you can imagine trying to calculate 300 activities duration manually with your head. It's not actually, how do I call it? It's actually very, very cumbersome, right? So MS Project helps you to take that cumbersomeness off your neck, right? So sometimes the fact that you have 300 tasks that has a duration of 2 days each, normally, right, you can just say 2 days by 300 tasks, I need 600 days. Sometimes it doesn't work like that. Why? Because some activities can be happening in parallel, right? Why some of them need to wait for others. For example, can someone just confirm that you can still hear me loud and clear? I want to be sure my network isn't breaking.
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. Thank you. Now, sometimes, Mr. Wesley, Mr. Wesley, I'm using your name today because your case is case study. So don't mind me. Yeah. So Mr. Wesley can actually cast first floor slab, and because it's required that it needs 28 days for it to cure, he may have to. There's some activities that should happen after first floor slab. For example, striking off of formwork. Usually, after you cast a slab, you strike off formwork. You may need to wait for maybe 28 days, right? That 28 days, how do you account for it, you know, manually if you have several floors? But MS Project can help you calculate it using what we call lead and lag. You can write that down so that in the course of this class, when I start explaining it, it will sink back in your head. Lag, L-A-G, lead, L-E-A-D. So that sometimes a project that has 2 days duration and has 300 activities may not necessarily equal to 600-day duration. It can be less if most of the activities can be done in parallel instead of one finishing completely before another one starting. So MS Project just help you run some commands on MS Project and it automatically calculates that for you. So that's why I say it automatically calculates cost and duration, however complex your project is and cumbersome the figures are. It's easy to use and compatible with all other MS Office suites. You will see now when I want to start, I can easily go to spreadsheet. What I already started with Mr. Wesley's activities on spreadsheet, I can move them to MS Project, Project. That's why somebody asked me last class or the first class, whether there are other, you know, softwares, and I say yes, but this is more compatible and easier to use with most softwares in the market. It helps to put a professional touch to proposals. and project financial analysis, right? It's accurate way to generate your material schedule and cash flow. So you want your procurement people to know the exact number of cement, the exact number of iron, or when you need it. MS Project is, you know, a good destination. Now, I'm not going to show us this sample, like I said. So, but we would do our own. When we are done, you will see, okay, this sample, right? Can then any of you remember a post I did? I think I even shared it on, let me see something. I think I shared it on the platform, on our WhatsApp platform. Something that I said that these are some of the things you could do with MS Project. How many of us remember that post? Okay, I'm not sure I shared it yet. How many of us remember any post I did where sorry, I want to look for something and project. Okay, I've seen one. So I'm projecting my screen again now. Can you see my screen?
Yes, I can.
Okay, this is a cash flow, right? This is a cash flow for a project. It was done using MS Project. Week 30, week 31, week 32, week 33. What are the money you need weekly, on a weekly basis? MS Project gives it to you. Then this is a cash flow for week 1, you know, 27 million, week 2, 10 million, week 3 and 4, no work, week 5, 10 million, week 6, 6 million. So total that was needed for this small project was 82 million. So it just helps the clients to just know, plan from week 1 to week 10, how much do I need per week? This 82 million, do I need everything at once? Oh no, I need this in week 1, week 2. So these are some of the things you're going to, these are the list of activities there. So another thing MS Project can do for, okay, this is a schedule. Can you see some of this? Can you see, please, can you see number 97? Can
Yes,
somebody
sir.
come? You can see number 97, right?
Cover.
Yeah? River to beam and cover. Great. How many level WBS is that? This is 5, right? Mr. Wesley, can you see that? This is 5. 1.3.1.1.12, right? So this is what MS Project can do for you. It just makes life easier for you, and you can just break it down. This thing was automatically generated. I don't need to bother my head with all these level WBS. It was, you know, generated automatically via MS Project. So these are some of the things that when you learn MS Project today, it can work well for you. Is my slide back? Okay, so let's look at scheduling process. What is project scheduling? Scheduling is simply the listing of activities, deliverable, and milestones within a project. Listing of activities. Now, project schedule is a timetable that organizes your task. Project schedule is a timetable that organizes your tasks, give them due date in an ideal sequence so that your project can be completed on time. The schedule also usually includes planned start date, planned end date, and all that. You get the slide. So let me just move fast so that we can go into the software at exactly, let me see if I can finish this slide by 5:30, right? Now, project scheduling process. So everybody, Mr. Wesley's activity, what we've just done, what it came with was that it defined his activities, his work elements. What we have started doing with this project, we have started sequencing the activity. After sequencing, we will move it to MS Project. We will estimate activity resources and we estimate activity duration. So these are process for scheduling. Then WBS, I will skip this. I wanted to revise this. Now, great. I want us to focus now, right? This is the core of the matter. If you miss these project scheduling terms, if you don't understand anyone, I want you to ask me a question. I'll spend about 30 minutes here. Ask me a question because I'm going to be using these terms. It's these terms you need to actually be able to use MS Project well. Now, a predecessor is the activity that happens before another activity. While a successor activity is a task which occurs following the predecessor activity, right? The predecessor is the first task. It controls the start and end for all related successor tasks. Now, let me explain something to us, right? Can we see the board again?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so Mr. Wesley, let me just take your summary tasks. No, when I say have that spreadsheet, there is prelims. There is, after prelims, there is column. Then there is what Mr. Wesley called the substructure. These three, which one comes first? Which one comes first?
The prelim.
Prelims. So let me use this bar to present prelim. Which one comes next?
The column.
Then your substructure, right? So this is your prelims. This is your column. This is your substructure. So prelims is a predecessor. Column is the successor activity. Substructure is the successor activity to what? To column.
Column.
Right? So this is what we mean by predecessor and successor. So my screen is back, right?
Yes, sir.
Now, another term you need to know is dependencies, right? Activities and task dependencies. A dependency is the relationship between predecessor and successor. Now you understand what a predecessor is and what a successor task or activity is. They are what? They must exist in relationship. In MS Project, I will tell you the importance of relating your predecessor and successor activity. Don't allow them float on their own. It helps you to track your project progress. Now, tracking project progress is equivalent to tracking individual tasks and activities to the work package level, right? So dependency is the relationship between predecessor and successor. So if I come to any of your sites and I say, what are you doing now? You say, I am doing maybe pouring my column concrete. And I say, oh, what is the successor activity? It means I am simply asking to tell me, after this one, what are you doing next? So when you said, oh, after pouring concrete, the successor activity is maybe to board my column. That's column form work, right? Am I correct, Mr. Wesley? After you have casted your column base that you have aligned and then set, and then you have make sure they are plumb and in line. The next thing is to board your column, right, and start doing your column form work, right? Good, great. So if you said, okay, the successor activity is now to column form work, I will now ask you, what is the relationship between this activity you are doing now and the successor activity? Usually, right, activity dependency are among the, let me skip all this, you can read it when I give you, but there are four main activity dependencies. follow me, please. I want to beg you that, right? Don't lose me here. Don't allow anything distract you. If you don't understand these 4 dependencies, you may not be able to use MS Project well. So I want you to just follow me. And like I said, after you have installed MS Project on your system, after today, you can call on me, not Monday, please. Maybe between Tuesday and Friday, I can give you 30 minutes one-on-one just to make sure I take you through your MS Project, depending on the version you have on your system. I'm going to be using 2016 to teach us today, but it's almost the same thing as 2019, 2021. Now, what are the 4 main dependencies? Number 1, finish to start. Number 1, finish to start. Number 2, start to start. Number 2, start to start. Number 3, relationship that dependencies that a predecessor and successor can have is start to finish. Start to finish. Number 4 is finish to finish. You are going to be using finish to start and start to start most. So I will explain them, then I will share my screen and do some illustrations on the board for us, right? Now, what is finish to start? Finish to start means the successor activity cannot start unless the predecessor activity finishes, or the predecessor activities must finish before the successor activity must start. E.g., land must be purchased before clearing can start. Right?
Yes, sir.
So can we see the board again, please? Now.
Yes, sir.
Column. So all this relationship here is what? Is finish to start. Prelim finish, column start. Column finish. What do I call it? Substructure start. You cannot just say that you are sequencing your activity and you put substructure before what? Before column, right? You can't do that, Mr. Wesley. It's wrong dependency. So the relationship that will exist between your column and substructure is a finish to start relationship. A finish to start relationship. A finish to start relationship. The second type of relationship that can exist is a what? A start to start relationship. And the successor activity cannot start unless the predecessor activity starts, or the predecessor must start before the successor can start. Setting out must start before excavation can start, right? So it can start before excavation can start. It doesn't mean it's a finish. They are similar, but the constraint there is that for finish to start, something has to finish before another one starts. You can't say that while you are still buying land, you start clearing. It cannot happen. But for setting out, for a start-to-start relationship, it's actually possible for how do I call it now? For a successor activity to start as soon as the predecessor starts. Let me give an example. Let me give an example now. Let's assume Mr. Wesley has 50 columns to do. He has 50 columns to do. And he just feels after doing 25, he will want substructure to start. Maybe he has programmed that, okay, let me do 16, 4 times 4, 16, 4 shofts. Let me do 16. When I finish 16, let me mobilize the diggers to start digging the substructure, or to start even laying substructure block in some aspect while we are still maybe trying to set and cast column in another aspect. That way, what Mr. Wesley wants to do is to actually do as soon as column starts, after a while, he may be wanting what? He may be wanting substructure to start. Or it's possible that as soon as column starts, you can even have a relationship like this. Because you have seen that the successor activity takes a longer duration, you will not want it to be like this. It may not be column and superstructure. You may not want it to be something like this. You may want to just push this. You use this relationship if there is no risk of the successor starting before the predecessor ends. You use this relationship if there is no risk of the successor starting when the predecessor is still on. Now, if you have your questions, you can just indicate. I'll be stopping at interval to take questions, because at the end of this class, we're going into practical. I may not have time for question and answer. Now, the third kind of relationship, like I gave an example here, setting out must start before excavation can start. So they can actually start together, but setting out must start first. Then excavation can follow maybe shortly after. They can start excavating while you are following up while the setting out is still on. Especially if it's a large project and you are engaging a surveyor to set out. Now, this is another thing I want to beg us, please. If your project is large, so that your buildings is not going out of alignment, don't use mason and foremen using line and throwing line up and down. Line has a degree of inaccuracy for very large projects. Always use a surveyor with refined instrument to set out your points, your column points, especially if it's story building. Just make sure your column points are accurate. So I encourage you to use surveyors to set out. I don't know if I have any surveyor on this platform. It's not around today, but so that we give them work to do. Now, finish to finish. The successor activity cannot finish unless the predecessor activity finishes. So this relationship happens if predecessor must finish before successor can finish. For example, block laying must complete before weak concrete can be complete. So, Mr. Wesley, for example, I saw in your list of activities that you will fill your block hole with weak concrete. So your mason or your workers cannot tell you that I have finished with concrete, or when your team is scheduling, they have scheduled with concrete to end on a day before block laying ends. So this will help you if you tie them together in MS project, that block with concrete must not finish until block laying finishes. By the time you tie it, even if somebody is trying to schedule with concrete to finish by mistake, the software will tell you, no, this cannot finish until this one finishes. So it will adjust it to ensure that block laying finishes before weak concrete finishes. So that's the third kind of relationship. We will see practical illustration of all these relationships. The fourth kind of relationship is start to finish. The successor activity cannot finish unless the predecessor activity starts, or predecessor must start before successor can finish. For example, excavate 300 mm around foundation must start before tyroline can be completed. You can't tell me you didn't start. The reason why we do this, I think this was from one of my sites, right? One of the experience we do in Abuja now, most people have tyroline on the walls, most developers now. Mr. Ini, the project you are working on to commence now, that project, have you seen the 3D? Does it have tyroline finish on the surface?
Yeah, I've seen the 3D, but I don't know if it has tyroline on the surface.
Okay, tyroline.
To be honest, I don't know what tyroline is.
Okay, if you see most of this is it Brains and Hammers Urban Shelter Estate these days, there is a way, instead of using paint or text coat paint to paint their wall, there is a way they use mortar, sand, and cement in some kind of machine, and they roll it, and it creates something like pebbles and text coat kind of feature on the wall. That's tyroline.
Okay.
Mr. Wesley, do you know what tyroline is?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. So if you have such on any of your sites, right, I want to encourage you, right, from my experience, to ensure that your workers who will do the tyroline, they go around your building after you have finished your foundation and the superstructure, the building is ready. Let them excavate externally small, as if they want to go to the concrete base of the foundation. The reason is because I see most buildings, after tyroline is done, after a couple of 1 or 2 rains, their tyrolene will start floating because rain will tend to wash, especially if it's an environment that they did some kind of landscape and it was not paved around the building, no interlock or no concrete around the building. So it can actually cause tyrolene to float. And what you are trying to protect, what are entering under, tyrolene is not just decorative, it's also like an additional protective layer for your wall after the plastering. So I see it happening. So it's because of that, on one of my projects, I sequenced that they must excavate around before they can do tyrolene, so that I make sure that the way my plastering covers down, my tyrolene will also go down as well. So I will illustrate this, later. Now, other terms that you need to know, right, is lead and lag. I mentioned it before. A lead is the amount of time where a successor activity can be advanced. Now, have you watched that these dependencies and lead and lag is centering around relationship between successor and predecessor? So one predecessor can have plenty successors. An activity that comes first can have several successors, and a successor can have several predecessors, right? Now, a lead is the amount of time a successor activity can be advanced with respect to a predecessor activity. That is a lead. While a lag is the amount of time that a successor activity will be delayed with respect to a predecessor activity. Now, let me show. Can you see the board?
Yes, sir.
Can you see the board now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, let me illustrate lead and lag. Now, like I say, all these terms, please, you must understand them to be able to use MS Project well. What did I say lead is?
Lead is the amount of time a project is delayed.
No, it's advanced.
No, advanced.
Advanced. Lag is delayed.
Lag is delayed.
So just carry this formula. Lead carries a negative sign. Lag carries a positive sign. Lead means it's been advanced. Watch. If I have maybe excavation and concrete work, this is a finish to start. So now let me just use Mr. Wesley's project continuously. This is column, this is superstructure. Right? Can you see that C and the S?
Yes, sir.
Okay, this is column, this is superstructure. This says that column work will finish and immediately substructure work will commence. If I want to introduce a lead, I will say something like this. Column should have a FS is what? Finish to start. If I'm talking project management now, I can say, Mr. Wesley, can you please ensure that the column has a finish to start relationship with the substructure and a 2 days lag. So if I send you this message, CFSS -2, it means that the successor activity here is what? Is the substructure. Why column is the predecessor activity? I want a 2 days lag. So let me divide this column work into 5 boxes. So let's just assume 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's a 5 days activity. And let me divide this substructure work into, let's say, 4. Let's say it's a 4 days activity. So a 2 days lag means I want the substructure advanced by 2 days. See what the relationship will now be. This is my column with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days. And then this is my substructure with what? 1, 2, 3, 4 days. Can you see? 1 or 2 person can unmute and just relay with me. Mr. Wesley, can you see? Yes, Ms. Esther, can you see?
Yes, sir.
Can you see that this is day 1, day 2, day 3? On day 4, I have advanced substructure to begin. Can you see?
Yes.
So what are we doing here? What's the relationship between column and substructure now? Column, substructure is the successor activity to column, but it now has a what? 2 days lead. 2 days what? Lead time. So I'll just put CFS minus 2, right? Minus 2 means I want substructure advanced by 2 days. Now, what if I make it a plus? It's now a what? A lag, right? I want to be sure
Yes, sir.
you're hearing me.
Yes, sir. Yes.
It's a lag, right? Beautiful. So how will it look like? It will look like this. This is my 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, 5 days for column, right? So instead of substructure to start immediately, right? I am saying delayed by what?
2 days.
2 days. So my substructure will start here. Now, because it is the peculiarity of your project, so I'm not going to have this. Can you see? So this is a relationship. So MS project will still tie it together for you. MS project can tie this together this way. You can tie it together this way. Tie this together this way. So it will also tie this for you like this. If you do something like this, right? So this one now is column finish to start plus 2 days, means substructure should be delayed by 2 days. Now, this happens with some task relationship, depending on what you and your team have seen the task to be. You use this basically if you have to maybe wait for a test result to come out. Maybe you know that after casting column, you don't want to take the risk and start substructure, and then the result of the test will come and it will fail, and you need to redo that concrete. You know, if it does not reach a certain level of Newton per millimeter square, your concrete may not have integrity. Mr. Wesley, do you have an experience on that? Any of your sites?
Yes. After your integrity test.
Beautiful. So, Mr. Ini, Mr. DJ, I'm sure you are following us. So, come in, Mr. Obon. So,
yes, but I have a question.
Yes, please.
The illustration on the board.
Yes.
Which one is CFS lag and which one is CFS lead?
Lead.
The first illustration and the second one. Which one?
Can you see where I'm pointing at now?
Yes.
That's lead.
Lead, okay.
Yes,
That's minus.
Minus 2 days, yes.
Minus 2 days lead.
Yes. Why this is plus 2 days lag?
Okay, CFS.
Because it's lag is the amount of time you want a successor activity delayed in respect to a predecessor activity. And I've just given you one instance where you can have a lag introduced in your schedule, where you just tell yourself, I don't want to take this risk. Let me wait for integrity test. Especially if you have been doing it and your concrete have been passing and you have mastered the process, you don't need to introduce lag. But if you have some experience like Mr. Wesley have said, and I've also had, you may want to say, "Kai, these 2 days, I better keep these 2 days and get my test before proceeding." That for me to have wasted money, you have started substructure, they've laid block only for the test to come and it has failed. You will remove the block and remove the concrete. You know, it's a waste of money. So this helps you to plan your project. So let me go a bit faster now. Don't worry, I'm a bit slow, but once I'm done with these terms and we grab it, I'm sure that teaching you MS project will be easier for me. That's why I'm taking my time. So a lead is portrayed with negative sign, whereas a lag is portrayed with a positive, sign. So you can just make 1 or 2 notes, but I'll share the slide with you, after the class. Now, lead and lag are always imposed on projects by project managers on a critical or non-critical path based on task logical relationship. Now, let me just tell us what the critical path is. The critical path of a project is the longest path of a project, is the longest path of a project, is the longest path on a project. How do I illustrate that now? In projects, right? I will show us on MS project. If I forget, remind me to show you what the critical path is. In a project, right? In a project, you have so many, how do I call it now? So many chains or relationships, so many task dependencies. There are some task dependencies that are long, and they will determine the end date of the project. There are some tasks that if you delay them or your message falls sick or something happens, it will not affect the end date of your project. Such tasks are said to be non-critical tasks, and the path on which they are non-critical path. But there are some tasks and activities that as a project manager, you don't play with. Immediately you finish planning your schedule, I'll show us how to do that. You need to discover your critical path. Once you have discovered your critical path, all the activities there, you take them seriously. Don't waste time on them and don't put any risk on them. Put your best resources there, put your best hand there. If you need to impose leads, now lead is advancing successor tasks. If you need to impose leads, you do it on your critical path. It's better because it saves you time. If you impose too much lags on your critical path, you'll be taking too much risk with your project end date. So that's just what I want to do here. Now, float is an activity duration where a task can be delayed without having an impact on the entire project. So let me just summarize what this means. Now, when you say float or slack, is the activity duration that you will not, that once you apply a lag on, lag is amount of time you can delay, right? Why float? The difference between lag and float is this. Lag is the amount of time you can delay a successful activity. But float is the amount of time you can delay a successful activity that it will not affect your project duration. The moment it begins to affect your project duration, it just tell you that you should be careful how you do float. You apply your lag. So float can only exist on the non-critical path. When we start doing the practical, we'll understand this. Now, there's what I call buffers, reserves. Sometimes some people call it padding. So as a project manager, you may, based on expert judgment and liaising with your stakeholders, you may want to create buffers and reserve. For example, I told us last time that I think when we're doing estimation, I say one of the ways to be safe is assume that your masons will be efficient or can only work 80% of what they are normally supposed to work. Even if they are doing that 100%, that 20% is actually a buffer or like a reserve. Are we getting? Can we remember when I said that? So that's one way to put buffers on your project. Now, a Gantt chart is a graphical depiction of your project schedule. Everything I've been showing now is a Gantt chart. These bars I'm drawing to show you task relationship is actually a Gantt chart. We will see it shortly when we start practicalizing. Now, starting a new project information, select tab view, and all that. So now with this, I think we have the first part of my class is actually over. I will do a bit of practicals now, introduce us to MS Project, then I will come back to my slide to take us through the process of generating reports. So what we're going to do now is we're starting a new project, and then I'm going to show you how to generate project information and set up your project environment. Then you select your Gantt chart view. You will see a spreadsheet. You can enter the required information you want by either entering directly or you double click to enter. Then for the predecessor activity, you need to write down the activity number. Then the software will automatically calculate your start and end date for you. All right, so I'm going to exit my slide now, and I'm going to show us, this is what the MS Project screen looks like. So I'm going to show this to us. And after that, I will come back on the slide to, wrap up the class. Is it 5:30 yet? Okay, so I'm 7 minutes behind schedule. We're supposed to start practical at 5:30. So I am going straight now to open MS Project on this system. Now, the way you open your MS Project is just the way you open MS Project is just the way you open any other software on your system. So I will project my system now. I'm opening MS Project on my system now. So okay, so I'm there now. I am projecting my screen. Shortly, please. Please confirm that you can see my screen.
Yes, I can see your screen.
Good. So this is the
Yes,
MS
sir.
Project interface. It looks very similar to Excel, right? I have an existing project opened. So what I will do normally, it's like spreadsheet. You go to your file and you open new. Can you see that? Then blank. Spreadsheet will tell you blank document, the blank sheet, right? But this one, did you see what it showed? Blank what? Blank project. Can you see?
Okay.
Yes. Word will tell you blank document. Excel will tell you blank sheet, but this one is saying blank project. So I have clicked on blank project. Can you see the name there? Project 1. Can you see? Can we see that? Yes. So what I'm going to do now, let me save and give it a name, right? I'm saving it to a folder, any folder you like, just save it to, and I want to give it a name. Let me just name it WBS for, no, let me just name it PW Neighborhood. That's the project, Neighborhood Market, right?
Yes, sir.
And I'm clicking on save. So I have that already. So what's the first thing I say we do? You list all your activities as much as you can, right? So to save us time, what I want to do now is I will go to the spreadsheet where I listed Mr. Wesley's activities before. I will copy it. I will just copy it and then come and paste it here. Can we see? Is it looking like what we did before? Let me see. Is this font clear enough?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so the same way you move your spreadsheet column is the same way I'm enlarging this column just to accommodate my work. So all these dots in front of it, I want to just remove them. All this dash. So what I did now was I double-clicked on my MS Project. If you have MS Project on your system and it's open, you can just, I double-click and I'm just removing and I'll click OK, right? It's because I copied and paste. If not, you can type like normal. So I double-click. I use my backspace. Okay. Please, at this point, you can unmute and stop me, please, because we're using the software now. I'm removing it. So what we've done now is to actually create a list of activity, which I've done. We did initially, and then we did and we started sequencing, but now I'm bringing it to MS project. So let's.
Sorry, sir. Please,
Yes.
how are you getting to this point where you are removing these things? What are you clicking on?
I'm double clicking.
Okay.
So for example, see this
double click on the item.
Yes, casting columns now. Can you see that my cursor on it? That plus
Yes,
sign?
double click.
Yes,
Okay.
once I double click, this pops up, right?
Okay.
So when we finish and you double click, from here you can actually see the information of all your tasks. Example, the predecessor, the resources needed for this task, and duration for this task, and all that and all that. The start date for this task, the end date for this task. Do you understand? Because we have not filled in all that, that's why it's looking this way. So I said, okay, that's changed. So I double click, I come here, I remove the dash. I say, okay, it has changed, right? So let me just leave this for now so that it doesn't waste my time. Begin.
Oh, sorry, sir.
Yes.
It's not possible to just copy instead of doing
Highlight
each one individually. Can't you just like highlight maybe like 24 down and then just take out that dash?
It's a possibility. Let me see. I've never tried it. It's a bit not. No, it's because with it's already typed in there. So let me stop here, right, and see.
Okay, it's task information. I think it's there actually.
Where?
Try highlighting from 26 down, let's see.
Okay.
Yeah, then click on that the way you did it before. See information down here. Maybe it should be in information.
Information.
The second to the left, yeah. Oh, okay.
So, yeah. It's not because they are already typed, but
yeah, it's okay. It's okay.
Don't worry. When you start using it, some of these things, right, you will, like I'm sure you already know and you're guess, you are likely not to pick it immediately today. That's why I'm giving one additional week. I expect you to practice by yourself within the next 2-3 days. If not, you will lose what you are learning today. Then come back to me at any time. Then we can do 30 minutes one-on-one. Let me just take my time to remove this. I want us to just use this list of activities. We won't go to super structure. Okay, 2 more to go. 2 more to go. Watering casted DPC. So, all right, I'm done now. So now this one thing, right? So right now, let me give Mr. Wesley, the next thing I always advise people to do. The reason is because I am not just doing it to do a schedule, but I want to use it to manage my project. I always encourage people, this task mode, it is now auto schedule. If I double click like this now, prelims, for example, it's saying it is manually scheduled. Can you see? Can we see that? So I can change it to auto schedule, right? Can you see that the icon on the task mode has changed? The task mode now is manually scheduled. But what I'm going to do now, instead of doing them one by one, Mr. Ini, I will just highlight everything. Can you see the whole of that column is highlighted? Then go up under the task pane there. There's manually schedule, there's auto schedule, right? I will click on the auto schedule. So everything has been auto scheduled for me. So the software has automatically taken what date is it telling me? That's taking
the 9th of.
Yes, 20. So you know what I'm going to do now? This you can please take it down. It's not in my slide. What I'm doing now, just note it somewhere because it is not in my slide. I want to try and use the same font. Okay. So let me just enlarge this a bit. Now, if you have a notepad, please write what I'm about to do now. I want to change my project start date. Let me assume, Mr. Wesley, I know you have started your project. Let me assume I'm starting this project on Monday, the 11th of September, right? Or on Monday, the 18th of September. Watch what I'm going to do. Go to the project tab. Now, what tab are we on now? Sorry, I didn't talk about that. This is a tab. I'm on the task tab, right? Under the task tab, there are different ribbons that have sub-ribbon, font, schedule, task, insert, property. I'm going to the project tab now, and it has its own ribbon. Under this project tab, project information. So you leave the task tab to project tab, click on project information, and then there is a column there for start date. Can you see that? Can you see that?
We can see it.
Great. So I will change it
Yes, sir.
now. The date I want to commence this my project, which is what? 18th. And I'll click OK. Once I click OK, my calendar is on September 18 now. It did September 11 before because I've not programmed today as a working day, but you are going to see it, very soon. And it's assuming that all my duration is 1 day. So let's leave this part and go back to our task name. See the place I highlighted task name. So let's arrange and resequence our activities now. Under prelims, what are the activities there? Select, mark out, right? Delivery of material is prelim, mobilize workers to sites. I've highlighted all of this. Now, watch the way I'm highlighting. Is either I select this way and I highlight all together, or I will pick the first one, I will hold down my control key and pick this next until I'm done, just the way you did for spreadsheet. Then watch what I'm doing. I'm going back to the task tab. Then see, can you see this indent task?
Yes.
If I do it, just watch what is going to happen. Watch what is going to happen to prelims and the duration of prelims. Watch what is going to happen. It has dented it and it has boldened all of that. Why it's still on 1 day is because I have not given them relationship. Can you see this column called predecessor? This is where you put your task dependencies. It's reading what? The task ID for the predecessor task on which the task depends before it can be started is what you fill in here. I'm coming to that. So foundation. So everything about foundation and column, I'm going to highlight everything, right? And I will dent that. Then I will go to column, everything under column. I'm going to highlight everything up till where? Cast column and water column, right? I will dent that. Then substructure, everything under substructure till watering of DPC, I'll dent it. Let me see if I can make it smaller so that we can see everything in one. Sorry, is it too small? Can we see?
Yes, you can.
You can see in one. So
I can.
it's just some items of substructure you can't see, but no problem. We can see now. Can you see the way the MS project organized it, right?
Yes.
What was going to happen now? From this arrow now, if I want to collapse all the activities under column work, check it out. Can you see I've collapsed it? Did we see what I did?
No.
Yes,
Now,
sir.
there's that black arrow beside column work. It shows that everything there is under column work. just in case you have like 500 tasks, but you just want to concentrate on prelims to understand, you have not started working on foundation and column, you can collapse this just to keep your work tidy, right? I can collapse foundation, right? I can collapse prelims. But let's say, as well, I want to see the details of foundation, I can collapse the foundation and collapse only column work, and then concentrate on what I want to actually track. So that's why I'm showing us all of that. So I can expand them again. Now, to create a WBS, are we sure we are done? There were some things I put. Okay, setting out column, right? I put prepare basket. Is that it? Tie basket, set column, squaring. Can you see what I've done? I've highlighted those 4. I'm denting it again because I want all of them to go under setting column. Is that, did we get that?
Yes, sir.
So is there another thing that we think should be under another, should be a sub under? For example, let me see, there's forming of block work. I may want to just insert, right? I may want to just insert and let me see something. I will auto schedule it. I want to create block work separately. I want to create block work and put some things under block work. What is this? 12. So my font size is 12. Let me take it to 12. So what I want to do now is, I discovered that there are so many subtasks under foundation block work. Or foundation work, right? So I want to carry this for me. The reason why I want to do this, I want to be able to say that this is how much the foundation wall is costing. So these 3 activities, I want to put them under foundation wall. Mr. Wesley, do you agree with me that there should be
Yes, sir.
foundation wall? So that the reason is because if I want to get estimate for foundation wall, these are the work packages that can give me estimate for foundation wall. So if they ask me at a glance, what does it? So it's actually good you learn to just break everything down, right? I can see add core, BRC, casting of DPC, wetting of DPC. Do you understand? Let me see, casting of DPC, wetting of DPC, then form up to DPC, backfilling. So let me also introduce a new task here, right? I want to just call all of this one DPC. If they ask me for DPC to start and end, what's the duration and what's the cost? I want to be able to have it at the back of my so let me just do DPC. Let me turn it to auto schedule, and I'll put everything here under DPC.
Yeah.
Do you agree with me, Mr. Wesley?
Yes, sir.
So that I know the cost of my DPC should be formal, DPM, hardcore, all these things should be under DPC, so that the client will know that, so that the client should not start something and get stuck. If you start it, at least end the phase. Let it be a deliverable. Let it be a milestone that you can beat your chest to say, yes, DPC is complete. So you should have that cost. So I won't waste time again. Now I want to do my WBS. Watch what I'm going to do. All this, my headings, there's task mode, there's task name, there's duration and all that. So there's predecessor, there's resource names. I've not assigned resources. So what I'm going to do now, I want to drag it away. See, add new column, right? Right? Can you see add new column?
Yes, sorry, I can't.
Yes, so I have, what column do I want to add now? WBS, right?
Sorry, please come again. We didn't get that. I didn't get that.
I say I want to, now I want to create my WBS numbering, so that if I want to reference to maybe accounts department to make payments, I can reference to say that the WBS is just like, it's an ID for your task. Do you understand? It's a unique ID, unique identifier. My name is Wesley Wadia. What is my ID, my registration number, or my staff ID number? or my NIN identification number. So WBS numbering is critical, not just to lay it out. Casting of columns should have a unique ID, so that when you are making payments, you know, Mr. Ini, you want to pay for a task that has been completed. Instead of writing some long story, it can just be the ID. Everybody on the team knows that this ID 1.3.4.5 is a unique thing. So when you want to say, please make payment for WBS 1.3, you can just say casting column, you can just put it. So they should have an ID. That's what WBS. So if you check this column, it's already everything you can do with your MS project is already there. You can see percentage complete, you can do it. Actual cost, task duration, budget, everything. But what I'm looking for now is W. So I'm scrolling down to W. Can you see WBS? Can we see that? Can we see that my WBS is out? Can we see that my WBS is out?
Yes.
So
yes, sir, we can see it.
yeah, so I need to, so that it will be close to my task name, I can move it. Just the way you do spreadsheet, it's the same thing. See what I'm doing now? It's on it, right? Can you see I highlighted it? Can you see my cursor has changed to a dark plus, right? Can you see something moving? Can you see that gray line?
Yes.
So as I'm moving it, anywhere I drop it is where it drops. But I want it to be on the left side. Can you see now?
Okay.
Can you see it's on the left side? It's neater for me that way. It's not that it can't be on the other side, but it's just neater for me to see my WBS numbering beside my task. Do you get that?
Yes.
Yes. So can you see automatically all those 2.1, 2.1.51 that I was doing manually before? Can you see that it's automated for me here?
Yes.
Right?
Yes, sir.
Now, another way you can do it, let me undo everything I've done. I'm doing undo now, Control Z, right? Another way is to just simply come here, task name, right? Right click and put insert column. Can you see I've inserted a column and then just go directly and pick what? And pick what? WBS, right? Oh, sorry. Insert a column. I'm doing it again. I will just scroll down to WBS and I'll pick my WBS. Right? I want to just use the same font and the same size of font. Right? So it's the same way. Whether you do it to the right and you drag it there, it's the same way. So let's quickly go to our duration now. I want to quickly impute my duration. Site selection, Mr. Wesley say. So now watch. If I want to include duration, there's what we call summary tasks. The ones in that can be collapsed are called summary tasks, right? Are called summary tasks. So I do not need to estimate for those ones. Once I estimate for work packages, so when you are using MS Project, you only estimate for work packages. Once I estimate for my work packages, automatically the summary tasks are also being estimated for. Watch, for example, site selection, Mr. Wesley said that 1 day, right? Which is okay. Marking out, which is setting out. Mr. Wesley, are you sure you can do it in 1 day?
Yes, sir.
Okay, but let me just use example that it's 2 days so that I won't just have one. Delivery of material. Let's say since we have several materials, let's say it happens over a period of 5 days, right?
Okay.
Workers mobilizing to site. Let's assume I allow some workers mobilize on day 1, some on day 2, some on day 3. So let me put 3 days for receiving all my workers on site, right? Based on need. Can you see that under normal circumstances, what do I have here? 1 day, 2 days, 5 days, right? Now, go to this column called predecessor. Can you see it?
Okay.
Can you see site selection?
Yeah.
Marking out must be after site selection, right?
Yes.
See what I am going to do. Site selection is number 3 here, right? So for marking out, I'll put 3FS. Can you see what I just did? Are we following?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Following, I can see it.
Go. So once I click enter, let me undo again. See this bar. This is my Gantt chart. Can you see these two bars? This is the bar for selection of site. If I point at it, it says task is selection of site is 1 day, is starting on September 18. Then if I go to the next one, it's telling me task is what? Marking out, right? But now immediately I put, just watch those two bars. Immediately I put 3FS. It means that I want marking out is a successor of site selection in a finish to start relationship. So can you see that the bar has moved? Did you notice the bar moved?
Yes.
Automatically.
So immediately after the site selection, marking starts.
Yes. Now let me see this delivery of material to site. Let me put it as finish to start with marking out. So I'm putting 4FS. Check what has happened to the bar. Can you see that it has also moved?
Yes, can see it.
Great. Let me do the last one. Mobilize to site. Let me put 5FS. Can you see that it has moved and an arrow is creating a relationship between them? Can you see that?
Yes.
Now, what I'm going to do now, Mr. Wesley, I'm sure you will not wait for marking out to be complete before you start delivering your material, right?
Yes.
So can I give it a lead so that it doesn't waste my time on site?
Okay.
Good. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going back to delivery of material. It's a successor of marking out. So I will say for finish to start, lead is what? Negative sign, right? Let me say marking out is taking place 2 days, but I want delivery of material to start a day after marking out starts. So I'll say FS, let's say -1. Can you see that it has gone back a bit, right?
Yes.
4FS -1 day. Now let me undo. I want to show you something. Did you notice that I am not adjusting my date, start date, end date? I don't have business with it. As long as I am putting dependencies between my predecessor and successor, the software automatically adjusts my date for me. For now, because the relationship is all finished to start, see what site selection is starting on September 18, because it's 1 day, is ending on that same day, September 18. The software has scheduled that marking out will start on September 19. Did you see that? Tuesday. Yes. And end on Wednesday, September 20. Now watch what will happen now. Delivery of material is starting on September 21 and ending on September 27 because it's a finish to start relationship. Mobilizing of workers to site is saying what? September 28. So let me put a lead now between delivery of material and mobilizing. Let's say, let me put a 2 days lead. So I can say it's now 5FS -2. Check the bar now. Just put your eye on the bar between delivery of material and mobilizing of workers to site. Can you see the bar has moved back by 2 days, right? Yes. Did you observe what happened to the date? The date is no longer, let me undo. The date was September 28. I'm redoing now. The date is now September 26 start. Can you see? I am undoing again. Mobilize to site is starting September 28 and ending October 2nd, right? Now, because I have changed the relationship to, I have applied a lead. Maybe your clients come and tell you, no, October is too late. I have applied 2 days lead. I now start September 26. It is ending September 28, right? The same way
so
can go.
Actually ending on the day it should have started.
Yes. So I am going back now to go and apply lead between delivery of material and marking out. I don't need to wait for marking out to be completely done. So let me just do 4FS, maybe 1 day. After 1 day after setting out start, delivery of material can also start, because I am now sure that the material will no longer be dumped on the place where I'm supposed to mark out. Do you get it now? That's why I allow just 1 day so that it can start. So can you see the predecessor and the dates changing for you automatically? Now, let's go to the total duration now. Preliminary now, can you see it's saying that it's taking 8 days. But if you manually calculate it, 1 plus 2 plus 5 plus 8 is how many? 11 days. But because of the lead time that we introduced in our task dependencies, it is now automatically calculated as 8 days. That's as if sometimes using MS Project, 5 plus 8 plus 2 plus 1, it can, how is it equal to 8? It's supposed to be 11. But because of your task dependencies, it's now equal to 8. Do we understand to this level?
Yes.
Yes, but I just want to ask a small question.
Yes,
In the past,
please.
when you have the predecessors, the 5FS and the 4FS,
Yeah.
those numbers, are those the predecessors before the successors?
Now, what can you see my arrow? My cursor?
Yes.
It's on start now.
Uh-huh.
I moved it to where? Duration.
Yeah.
I moved it to task name. I moved it to WBS. I moved it to task mode. What's the number there?
2.
That's the number I'm using. So the number for delivering of material is what? Is 5. The number for marking out is what? 4, right? So if I want to relate mobilize to workers to site, which is the successor of delivery materials, I will use I'm tying it to its predecessor.
Yeah.
Right? And the predecessor number is 5. So I will now use for the successor activity, I will now use 5FS. The relationship between successor and predecessor, which is mobilized to site and deliver material, is what? 5FS with a 2 days lead time. That's what that statement means.
Thank you.
Yeah. So let's quickly do the next one. Then I want to quickly show something. Now, I told you that we do not need to estimate summary task, right? Why? Because as you are estimating the work packages, the summary task automatically is adding up by itself. So let me quickly do column. Digging of column, Mr. Wesley said is 3 days. So let me just make it 3 days. Blinding is 3 days. If you watch my buy, it's actually changing too. Mobilize carpenter is 1 day. Form work is 2 days, right? Let me just do everything. As we are doing, the summary task is changing. Let me do prepare basket. It said is, so can we do 1 day? Let's say 2 days. Tie basket, let's say 1 day. Set column, let's say 1 day. Squaring, let's say another 1 day. Casting column base, you say 2 days. Watering 1 day. Oh, watering, you say 2 days. Okay. So let me put watering as 2 days. Cast column. Casting of column, let's do it in 2 days. Watering of column plus base, 2 days, 2 days. Now let me go to digging of substructure. You say 3 days. Blinding of substructure, you say 1 day. Forming for block work. Are you sure you can do this in 1 day? Forming takes time. Is that not your first course? Mr. Wesley?
Yes.
I think it's more than 1 day.
But you're not using just one mason, no.
Okay. What's the total number of blocks in this foundation for 24 shops?
I can't say exactly.
So, Mr. Wesley, what is the basis of your estimate? You remember last time, I told us that most times, try to get the unit and try to just look at the capacity of your mason. Okay, how many masons are you using? Do you intend to use or did you use?
Okay, for this very part, you have several masons, but I tend to pick the best of the best to do the forming for me.
How many did you pick, for example?
4.
4. And I guess this is a 9-inch block.
Yes.
Any mason that do, how many do you think they can do successfully in a foundation 9-inch block? 80?
For just one level now. For just one level. For the forming.
For the forming. For the forming, right?
Just one block for the forming. You're not
just one block for the forming. So just one block for the forming. So let me assume it can even do 100 times. So that's 400 block. And you are sure the forming one course is no more than 400 blocks. Okay, so let's just do that. let me just use 3 days here. Filling, let me use 3 days. Oh no, you said 2 days. Let me use your day. Last right, you said 2 days. Form work to DPC, 1 day, 1 day. Add core placement, 2 days. Wire mesh, 1 day. Casting, 1 day. Watering, 3 days, right? Now,
yes.
So let me quickly put tax dependencies on all this. So let's go to digging of column. What should I tie it to? Now I have to tie it to number 6, right? Mobilizing workers to site, right? So it has to the 6 what? Digging cannot start until the workers mobilize to site. So it's 6 FS.
Yes.
Let me reduce my column width a bit. I want to be able to see more information. Especially my bar, the way my bar is going, I'm not seeing some of them. So let me reduce the column so that I can see my bar. Now that I want to schedule my project well, right? So let me do this. So we can see now, right? Okay, so the next one there is what? Blinding, 3 days. So let me tie blinding to what? Digging of column base, right? So that one, can we introduce a lead? No. Am I correct?
We can actually.
How many days lead do you want?
Maybe 1.
1 day lead. So 9 FS minus 1. So you can see the bar has shifted back. So mobilize carpenter to site. This is the carpenter that will do the form up to the column, right? So let's
already inside.
Okay, that's blinding needs to be done. So that one has to be 10 FS, right? Right? Now,
Yes,
form work for column basis. I want to relate it 11 SS. Do you understand? Let them just start together. What do you think? The day they are coming, can't they just start?
Yes, they can actually immediately they are forming, the baskets are already there. Immediately they are forming, and they can begin to cast.
Okay, great. But can you see this? Can you see my bar?
Let me reduce my screen so that I can see. Okay.
Yes, they are starting together.
So let me expand the bars so that it can be clearer for you. Okay, I've expanded the bar. Can you see this? These are the bars now. I expanded it. You can see them starting together, right? So you know what? Because of, I know you can do the others yourself. I am going to send this thing as it is, as in MS project format. I am going to send it to us, right? I would like us to complete from 2.15 down. I would like us to complete it ourselves, right? Now, the way it is, right? If by Wednesday, Thursday, no, let me wait till Thursday. I don't get us submitting, I may have to call for another organized class. That will be a bonus class. Just to, I want to be sure we all got it. Some of us, I don't know why we didn't reach out to me. Only one person reached out to me within the week. But we need to reach out to me because I need us to get this thing. If you want me to give you more than 30 minutes, just let me know on time. If not, I'll call for an additional class. The reason is because I want to quickly, do something now. Now watch. Because I have scheduled just item 1 and item 2 up to 2.15. Duration for prelims is 8 days. Duration for foundation so far is 3 days. I can't, and so far is 15 days. I can't say it's 15 days because we are not done, scheduling the other ones. We are done scheduling after you have what? Put the dependencies. These are the dependencies, the predecessors. I have not done filling them, so I can't say that the duration is actually 15 days. But how do you check your baseline? Watch what I'm going to do now. Project, information, statistics. You may want to write them down. Let me close. For now, see when prelim is starting 9th and it's ending 27th. Foundation is 18th and it's ending October 6th. Because this is my latest date for now, when I go to project and information and I click on statistics, it will give me my baselines in one place. Check it now. It's saying that this project starts on 18th September and it ends on October 6th. Don't forget, it may not be true. It's because we are not done scheduling. When you are done scheduling, it can go to about November. But this is just a one-stop gap where you can just check your project's start date and end date. Then see current. Current duration is 15 days. We've not started tracking. So it's telling us that this project duration is 15 days for now. Now, my cost is in dollars. Can you see that? So let me close that. I will show you how to change it later. Now, how do you assign resources? I won't go back to my slide. I will circulate the slide. But let me just do this because I have 12 minutes. Then I'll take questions, right? How do you assign resources? Before then, let me talk about something. There's what we call cost, actual cost, fixed cost, and then what we call estimate to complete. Estimate to complete or estimate at completion is actually your project budget. So let me bring that out for you. E, I'm scrolling now to E. I can't find it. I'm looking for EAC. Okay, I found it. This is EAC, right? This is in dollars, so let me change it to Naira. You may want to make a note of this, how to change it to Naira. Watch where I'm going now. I'm going to File, Options, Display. Can you see this dollar sign there? Currency, USD. So I'll go and change this to NGN. Did you get that? File, Option, Display. I've changed it to NGN now. Can you see the symbol I've changed from dollar to Naira? Once I OK, can you see my symbol has also changed from dollar to Naira, right? Yes. So how does this begin to come out? This is where there is a bit of work, right? So see what I'm going to do now. Resource. Please follow me. Resource. I want to assign resource, but there's no resource yet. So what's the first item there? For site selection, there is no what? There is no material required. Am I correct? So I can introduce what I call a fixed cost there. But because there may be a cost incurred in going to select or inspect the site, maybe the first day you were called, I don't know who gave you the contract. So let me just put a fixed cost, right? Let me introduce a fixed cost column for anything that doesn't require material, but I need to spend money. I need to know. So for selection of site, let me put, let's say how much, let's say maybe for logistic or something, maybe let's say 25,000. I don't know how much to spend, but this is just assumption, right? Then for marking out, you need some materials, right, Mr. Wesley? Let's say pegs, line, maybe hammer and all that. So what I'm going to do, check what I will do now. I'll go to my Gantt chart and I will click on resource sheet. Resource sheet. So let me go and enter a resource. I need what? Is it wooden? I'll need pegs, right? I need nails, lines. I need what kind of nail? Since we're going to have plenty nail, let me specify. Let's say 3-inch nails, right? Yes. What else do I need? Maybe I need to buy them AMAs. What else do you need? Okay, so let me change them.
That's basically it.
That's basically it. So let me change them to material, please, Mr. Wesley. Let me change them to material. 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 Did you note where I went, right? You noted it down. I went to resource, resource sheet, right? Now, how much is a peg?
I really don't know.
How much do we put for peg? Let's just assume something.
Let's say 250 for one, depending on the. No, it's not up to 200.
Okay. 250. Sorry. Sorry, are you seeing? I still see my screen.
I think
Yes.
it has frozen.
It has frozen. Okay, I'm having.
Yeah.
How about now?
It's showing another page.
Now it's
still okay. Yes, it's okay now.
at the right place now.
It's okay now. So let me put, let's say.
It's okay now. It's back to
yeah. Okay. Let's say 200, right?
Yes.
Lines, let me just say 200. 3-inch nail, should we buy in bag or in pounds?
Let's say a few pound weight. Maybe
Let me just price it in bags. A good hammer should be about 5,000. Now I'm going back to my Gantt chart, right? So what I want to do now is marking out now. I'm going to resource, right? I want to assign resources to marking out. So what and what do I need? Nail. Let's say I need 0.25 of that quantity, right? Can you see the cost is there now? 2,250, right? Right?
Yes.
Hammer, let's say you are using how many 4 men to set out? Let's say 4 or 5. So that you will do it. Let's say I need 4 hammers. Let's say I need about 20 lines because I need to join them together. Then pegs, how many pegs do you think we'll need? Up to 60, 70?
Yes, sir.
Okay, let's say 75, right? So I've assigned resources to what? To this task called marking out. I can close. Can you see that? Can you see the cost of material for 1,250? Can you see it?
Yes.
So if I expand this resource name, can you see that at a glance, every resource I need is here? Can you see?
Yes.
So that when I'm looking at marking out, at a glance, you can just say, no, 0.25 bags, hammer, 4, lines, 20 pegs. You may decide to hide this because sometimes you may want to just use the one that is showing on your Gantt chart view, right? So let me see. Let me make it smaller.
So when you hide it, how do you bring it back? You want to see it again?
Yes, you go back here. You go back here where it says add new column, right? Once you click it, everything you can do is there. So what's that place I hid now? Resource names, right? So you just scroll to R resource names, right? It's back.
Okay.
Yes, it just so I don't have everything. Everything can be, even this EAC and fixed costs, I can hide them anytime I want. I bring them back up. Maybe you are talking to some stakeholders or clients that you don't want all your information out. Maybe what they have business with is just your task, end date, start date, and then we want to see these activities. Do you understand? The way the tasks are dependent on each other. So can you see that as I'm assigning material, can you see that this my summary task of prelims is changing, is showing me. So how much do you think I want to pay for this marking out? Let's say I'm paying 100,000. I can put it under fixed cost. There's a way you can put it under labor. Yeah, by assigning labor. Where I assign material, Mr. Westler, Mr. Eni, you remember I changed it from work to material. If you leave it at work, you can price in man hour, right? So I will leave that to you to discover it, to help you to practice. Delivery of material to site. Now, you can estimate that cost. Mobilize workers to site. I don't know what it takes to mobilize workers to site. Are you going to be setting? Are they going to be living on site? Do you need to usually the day my workers are mobilizing, I organize I call it pre-mobilization meeting, and I give them refreshment. So usually I'll put that kind of cost under fixed cost. Let's say I'm going to spend 50,000 naira, because the idea is by then my schedule is ready. So I don't want them to start working. When I come to site, I want to be shouting less. Mr. Wesley, if you can relate, you can just say hi to me. You will shout very well.
Yes,
if you don't do this kind of meeting. Then we mobilize. In short, messing meeting is different. I will give you refreshment. Sit down and listen to me. This is my program for this work. I am starting this day. We need to finish by this. We are doing this. We're assuming we're using this material. I'll tell you the reason why I'm buying 4 armor. I'll tell you the reason why it's need. So they won't come back and say, oh, why you can't buy us 3 armor now? I give you the reason. If on that day they disagree with me, I can actually take their idea to and go and implement and add a little bit of what they say. If they say that everything you are providing, with what you are providing, no, we can't give you this project within this duration, I will come to a compromise with them. The reason is because we must be on the same page. I said it during the first class. You must be on the same page. When I talk about stakeholders management, right? So I will organize mobilization to workers to site must carry a budget. Can you see that the total is here, right? Now, because of time, I want to skip here now and go here. Watch what I want to do again. I want to go to project now, project information, and I pulled out my statistics again. Can you see that now? The area of cost, I have it now. For now, it's saying this project is costing me 216,250. But you know that's not correct. It's because that is where I have assigned resources for now. Every other thing is still zero. As we are doing is adding up. So I won't go to the other. So I will stop here. You will go and do the remaining yourself. But maybe let me just do blinded 2.1.2. Let me just do that. Let's go to, how do we go there now? Remind me. I want to assign materials to blinded. Mr. Wesley. Mr. Ini, can you take me there? Who else is in this class? It's only Mr. Wesley and Ini. It's a network issue. Most people have gone off. Mr. Deji, Mr. Obong is still here. I hope you are following. If after the meeting you want to ask specific question, Mr. Obong and Mr. Deji, concerning your own project, you can ask me. That's what I want to do between 6:30 and maybe 6:45. Sorry, we'll just a little bit longer today. Then I will most likely entertain. If the need be, I will come on the platform and say that no, we need, when you go to practice by yourself, but make sure you install your MS project first. Practice on a small project. I will have one-on-one with you. Depend on the level we have gone individually. I will most likely come on the platform to announce that let's choose one more day in the next 1 week, 2 weeks. It could be a Saturday, it could be a Friday, it could be a Sunday, it could be any work day that we agree on the platform. Then I will give us another 1 hour, 1.5 hours as a group just on MS project. So somebody tell me how I will assign material to blinded.
Go to resource.
Resource.
Okay, now I will go to resource, right? I will follow you. Assign material. But because I've not finished populating my material resource list, I won't be able to do that. So what I want you to know is that for the first time, what I was actually supposed to do was to work with my QS to go to this place. Watch what I've done now. I've gone back to task, right? Where you see Gantt chart, I clicked it and I selected resource sheet. I'm supposed to work with my QS to populate this resource sheet first, so that all the material needed for the project is presented there. It's just the unit I'll be assigning later. So first thing you need to be doing right now, since you are doing this for the first time, is when you come here, you ask yourself, blinding, I need cement, I need sand, I need stone. Have I put it on my resource sheet? The answer is no. So before you come to assign, you have to go to resource sheet and let them recognize those materials officially for the project. Well, we need cement for the project. We need sharp sand for this project. We need rebar. We need granite for this project. We need Y16. Are you using Y20 for any of your columns and beams, Mr. Wesley?
Yes.
I need Y8. So you go populate everything. I need Y20. So let me just stop here for now. I will change everything to what? To material, right? So for now, what I want to do is actually, so how much is cement now? I don't know. In my area here, I just did a small 2-bedroom flat and I bought cement for 5.2. I don't know how much it is in your area.
5.1.
5.1. So let me use 5.2. That's how much I just got my own. Sharp sand, because it's rainy season, they can't go into the river. So right now I'm buying 20 ton sharp sand for about 90,000. I don't know how much you are buying.
Depending on what you want to buy.
How much are you buying, Mr. Wesley?
Some people sell as low as 55, 60. But if you are looking for that duration,
yes. Okay, my granite now 20 tons is 185,000. I don't know how much you are buying now. So let me just stop here for the purpose of you are supposed to put water and all that too. So let me go back to my Gantt view. It is now I can now click on blinding and now going to resource and say assign resource because the resources for blinding is available. So cement. Let's see how many cement do we need. I don't know how many you use, but let me imagine that you need up to 50. It's saying, well, we need 200 sisters. And do we need nail for blinding? No. Sharp sand. Let's say, do you finish 20 tons? No. Since my unit is in 20 tons, let's say assume I use 0.5 of 20 tons. That's 10 tons. So I'm using 45,000 naira worth of this. Usually the granite will almost be double, right? So let's assume I'm using 1 ton, right? 120 ton, right? So what did I just assign? Is nail I assigned though? So let me remove, right? I've removed the nail. Did you see why I removed the nail?
No.
You
okay.
clicked on.
Let me do that mistake again. So what I did, I just clicked on nail. There's no 3-inch nail for the blinding. I come here. Can you see?
Yeah, remove.
I remove. So I now go to granite. That's what I need to pick, right?
I saw replace there. Can you replace? Can you, instead of doing remove, can you just switch it?
Okay, so granite, replace granite with 3-inch nail. Okay. Yes, great. It worked. Okay. So thank you for that observation. I've actually never done it that way, but so can you see you have a lot to discover yourself. So if I close this now and I expand it, it's saying that I'm spending 490,000 on blinding, and it has rolled over to column work. So by the time 2.13, 2.14 come, it will increase this 490 for column work and also increase 490 for foundation. By the time setting out money adds, the column will remain, then the foundation will start going up. So you can check all your resources yet needed for this particular task. Now, let me save my work, go to task. Now, before I take questions, sorry, please, let me do one thing. This one, just write it down, go and practice yourself. I won't dwell more on it. I've gone to report, right? I want to just generate a cash flow report. Only cash flow report. You discover the other ones yourself, and then we can have one-on-one. I'm going to cash flow, right? It's showing me now in graph. So let me see if I can edit and change to weeks and see. So this is graph. But let me close this, right? Let me close this one. Let me go to report. Let me do visual reports. This is one that exports it as Excel so that you can do whatever you like with it. Cash flow report. I'm clicking view. You know what I did? Report, visual report, select cash flow, click on view. So can you see it loading? Did you see it loading? Opening Excel. Did you see what happened?
Yes.
So that's my, how do you call it? That graph is here. Then check the next tab called task usage. It's also there, right? Can you see?
Task what?
Task usage, the spreadsheet tab. See watch my cursor.
I think it was frozen.
How about now?
It's still the same.
Did it change?
No, it hasn't.
Okay, so what I'm going to, let me,
Mr. Wesley, has it changed on your own side?
I'll stop,
Not yet.
I'll
Okay.
stop sharing and I will reshare. Okay, so sorry, is this, the spreadsheet opened on another place? Can you see now? This is the spreadsheet that's open.
Okay. Okay. Is that Excel?
Yeah, this is Excel now. Let me stop sharing. Let me reshare the MS project. This is the MS project, PW, right? Let me close this, go back to my, let me close. Let me go back to my Gantt chart. For now, if you want to check the project budget, I go to project information, statistics. The amount has risen to 706,250, right? So immediately I clicked on report, visual report, and I selected this cash flow and I clicked view. It opened a spreadsheet for me. So that's the spreadsheet I'm going to show to us now. This is the spreadsheet. Can you see that 706,250 there? But because you have scheduled your project into different days and different weeks, you can expand all of this. And then, can you follow me, please? Follow my arrow. Can you follow it?
Yes, I can follow. Yes.
Where am I? What is it pointing at now? Task, right?
Yes.
So I've selected task, and I'm asking the task to move to row. Can you see? So my task is now open now. PW project. Can you see it open? Prelims work, foundation work. I'm just opening it up now. Can you see it open?
Yeah, so you clicked on task and then all this came out, right?
Yeah, I click on task. They came out as summarized.
Summarize, then you
yes, I now click on the plus.
Yeah.
I'll click on all plus to make it expanded. So because it is looking too clumsy, what I need now is actually from here. This column work, so I can just
hide the rest of them.
I can just hide this, just like your normal spreadsheet. As sure, I don't even need this. Let me hide it for now. You can hide it later. So I will click it. Let me go to cost now because it's cost I'm interested in. So I'm right-clicking on it, and I'm right-clicking. I want to. Okay, the cost is not properly, is not how do I call it? Is not populated very well, so it's not expanding much. I didn't do much on the cost. So let me take this back. But the costs. Okay, let me change the weeks. The weeks, let me take the weeks to row. So how many weeks do we have? It's actually just two weeks. What I've done so far is spreading just over 2 weeks. Okay, there's 38, there's 39, there's 40. So let me just highlight this and turn it to normal account view. I want to put a comma in this spreadsheet.
So
Like
is that 3 weeks?
Yes. So let me just remove the decimal point, right? just so that there will be comma, we can understand the figures better. It's looking more like express. So this one was exported from my project. So this is saying now that the total value of the project is what? 706,250. And then it's spanning over. If we finished everything, it will open it up better. Now, in week 1, there's a 25,000. I can't remember what it's for. Probably prelims. I think it's site selection. Then we have another money in week 1 to spend, 141,500, which is marking out. Most of this is actually happening over a 2 weeks period. You understand? Or 3 weeks, 38, 39, 40. So it's giving us an idea of cost for week 1, idea of cost for week 2. So most of what I do, because it has given it to me in a spreadsheet, I can now remove what I don't want. For instance, it's showing me too many rows. So I can actually, from all the way here, just hide what is not relevant for me and just make my work summarize. This is my cumulative cost. This is my total cost for each task. Oh, why did he hide my task view? Task. Move my task to row. On hide. So I can't find my task. Did I hide anything I was not supposed to hide? Okay, my task is showing here. Foundation wall, DPC. Move my tax to row, move my cost to, then my weeks to column. My weeks to column is taking my task away. That shouldn't be. Okay, so let me open up my week to column. So in week 1, in week 38, it's putting it as quarter now. So what I do is that I can now edit this and turn it to my project week. I can rename them as week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4. And that's what I did with the sample I showed us earlier on, which is something like something like this. So it is now it's easier for me to generate it from MS Project than doing it manually. Now, after generating that, I now took it to a spreadsheet and now reworked it myself. Now, if it's for a very large project that is costing like 1 billion, right? Your brain may not be able to grasp a cash flow for it, to break it into week 1, week 2, and something that is lasting up to like maybe 1 year is 52 weeks. So if it's doing 24 months, it's like 100 weeks. So, but because it has generated it for me like that, and when MS Project is generating, it generates based on what you scheduled. Now, let me unshare this and then reshare this MS Project. Now, because, can we see my screen? Okay, if you can't see my screen, no problem. Now, because the project was already scheduled, it's actually easier for the software to do your cash flow and put it into different weeks, because the software has a brain and it knows that in week 1 you are doing these activities. Those activities is costing this for labor, it's costing this for material. It will separate it for you and say, week 1, project manager, prepare this with your client. Then it will go back to the schedule and look at your week 2 activity. It will do it all the way to week 200 in case the project is lasting 4 years. And you can sit today and know in 4 years' time how much I'm spending on maybe weeks 25, week 38, week 48, because the MS project will collate all the activity for that week, depending on how you have, the tax dependency, the relationship between them. It will collate the cost and give you budget this for this week, budget this for that week, and budget that for that week. So that's just the summary of what I want to introduce us to on MS project. Install the software, practice it by yourself, and get back to me. Let's have the one-on-one class. So let me take question. I was supposed to have 30 minutes for question. Now I have just 12 minutes. This is 6:48. So let's see if we can close this class at 7 p.m. Any question, please?
Okay, so first off, I'm seeing recording on my screen on the top left. I don't know if this session was recording.
Yes. All the sessions are recorded. I told us from day one that I'll record all sessions. For people, for example, 19 people registered for this class. Day 1, I had 15. That means 4 person will depend on the recording. Day 2, I had 16. That means 3 person will depend on the recording. Today now, a lot of people send me messages that they have appointments like architect, Oracle and all that. They won't be able to solve. 2 people have come in and have gone now. So we have 6 here. So that means I will have to send the recording to about, how many persons now? 19 minus 6, 13. So the class is recorded.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
So let me have more questions. Mr. Obong, I don't know if I was able to touch anything relevant to your area of work at all.
Well, it's kind of because like you're talking about the foundation footing and all, we have additives that we apply like in the process of casting. And so
Okay, sorry for cutting you, Mr. Obong, right? Mr. Obong. Can you hear me? Who is not hearing me?